When life sends you a warning, it is never random. It does not happen by accident. There is an order, a pattern, a rhythm to the universe that many of us choose not to see because we are so consumed by the noise of the outside world. But deep inside, you know this truth: life speaks before it shouts. It begins with whispers, gentle signals, subtle reminders that something needs to change, that something is not aligned. But most of us do not listen. We ignore these whispers because they do not hurt enough yet. We tell ourselves, "I'll deal with it later. There is still time." But time is the greatest illusion, my friends, because none of us know how much of it we truly have. Think about it. How many times in your life have you felt something inside telling you, "This is not right. This path is dangerous. This person is not good for you. This habit will destroy you." But what did you do? You silenced that voice. You called it fear. You called it overthinking. You called it nothing. And so you continued walking toward what would eventually become your greatest regret. Not because you did not know, but because you did not listen. Every tragedy in your life, every heartbreak, every downfall, if you look closely, was preceded by a whisper, a sign, a message from life, from God, from the universe saying, "Stop, change, wake up." But we do not wake up until life stops whispering and starts screaming. And by then, it is often too late. The reality is that life is not cruel. It is compassionate. It gives us many chances before the final one. It warns us through pain, through loss, through failure, not to punish us, but to redirect us. But if we do not listen, if we continue to close our ears, the warnings become louder. And when the warning becomes the last one, that is when everything changes. Either for the better if we respond, or for the worse if we ignore it again. But why wait for the last time? Why wait for the storm when the whisper was enough? Look around you. How many lives have been destroyed because someone ignored the first sign? The man who kept eating unhealthy food despite the first health warning from his doctor, thinking, "It's just one more day, I'll start next week." Then one day, the heart attack comes. The last warning, and sometimes the final one. The woman who stayed in a toxic relationship because she believed that love meant suffering, ignoring the first signs of disrespect, the first signs of abuse, thinking, "He will change. It's not that bad." And then years later, she wonders why she lost herself. The entrepreneur who saw the cracks in his business, but thought, "I have time. It's just a small issue," until the cracks became an earthquake that took everything down. The signs were always there, the warnings were given, but they were ignored. You see, the biggest problem is not that life does not send us signals. It does. The problem is that we think we are smarter than life. We think we can cheat consequences. We think, "Won't happen to me." We think, "I have time." But time is not yours. Time belongs to no one. And the arrogance of believing that we can delay action without paying a price is the root of so much suffering. Every whisper you ignore becomes a shout. Every small discomfort you avoid becomes a disaster you cannot escape. And the tragedy is that we only value the whisper after the storm has destroyed everything. So I ask you, how many warnings have you already ignored? How many times has life tried to wake you up? Through the pain in your body telling you that your health needs attention. Through the emptiness in your heart telling you that your soul is starving. Through the failures in your career telling you that your habits are broken. Through the loneliness at night telling you that you need to change the way you live. These are not coincidences. These are not accidents. These are calls to awareness. But awareness without action is useless. It is like seeing the fire, but refusing to move because you believe it will not burn you. It will. Fire does not discriminate. Life does not pause for your excuses. The truth is that listening requires humility. It requires the courage to accept that you are not in control of everything, that you need to change. And most people do not like change because change requires effort. It requires discomfort. It requires sacrifice, and so they wait. They wait for a better time, a perfect moment, an easier way. But there is no perfect moment. There is no better time. There is only now. And the longer you wait, the louder the warning becomes, until it becomes the last one. Listening before it's too late is not just about hearing words. It is about feeling the signs life gives you. It is about being present enough to notice when something is not aligned. But presence is rare because we are distracted. Distracted by noise, by phones, by the opinions of others. We are so busy scrolling through other people's lives that we do not even hear the voice inside calling for help. The signs are there, but your attention is elsewhere, and so you miss them. You miss the small discomforts that could have saved you from great pain. You miss the first cracks before the entire wall collapses. But what happens when you decide to listen? What happens when you finally say, "I will not ignore this warning. I will not wait for the storm"? Your life begins to change. Because you start acting before it is too late. You start making small changes before they become urgent. You start taking responsibility before the consequence forces you to. That is the power of awareness. That is the gift of listening. It gives you control over your destiny instead of being controlled by circumstances. The question is, what do you need to listen to right now? What is life whispering to you? Is it telling you to take care of your health? To leave that toxic environment? To stop delaying your dreams? To start loving the people who love you before it is too late? What is that one thing you keep postponing because you think you have time? My friends, listen to me, you do not have time. You have now, and if you waste now, you will regret it later. Because later is not guaranteed. Later is an illusion. Listening before it is too late is the difference between a life of peace and a life of regret. It is the difference between a small correction and a complete collapse. It is the difference between learning through wisdom or learning through pain. And wisdom is always cheaper than pain. But you have to choose it. You have to be willing to stop running from the signs. You have to be willing to face the truth. And the truth is simple. If you do not change what needs to be changed now, life will change it for you later. And you will not like how that feels. Every day is a message. Every experience is a lesson. Every discomfort is a teacher. But only if you listen. So, do not wait for life to shout at you. Do not wait for the final warning. Do not wait for the moment when there is no return. Wake up now. Open your eyes now. Act now. Because the whisper you hear today could be the last chance you have to avoid the storm tomorrow. When life warns you, it is not just asking for your attention, it is asking for your transformation. Every sign you receive, every whisper you hear, every wake-up call that shakes you to your core, it is not there to punish you, it is there to shape you. But most people do not want to change. They want results without responsibility, growth without effort, success without sacrifice. And that is why they keep hearing the same warnings over and over again. Because warnings are repetitive when lessons remain unlearned. The question is, what will break the cycle? What will ensure that you do not keep repeating the same mistakes, walking the same circles, and falling into the same traps? The answer is discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom disguised as structure. It is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Without discipline, you cannot sustain any change in your life. You can have motivation today and still fail tomorrow. You can have inspiration now and still break down later. Because motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. You do not need another speech, another book, another video telling you what you already know. You need the discipline to do what you already know. Because knowing is not enough. Everyone knows they should eat healthy, work out, save money, speak kindly, and live with purpose. But how many actually do it? The difference is never knowledge. The difference is discipline. Life gives you warnings when you lack discipline, Because every warning is a reflection of chaos. Chaos in your habits, chaos in your thoughts, chaos in your priorities. Look at your life. Where are the warnings showing up? In your health. That is because your habits are undisciplined. In your relationships. That is because your emotions are undisciplined. In your career. That is because your focus is undisciplined. Wherever discipline is missing, destruction begins to grow. Slowly at first, quietly at first, and then suddenly it takes everything from you. And you ask, why me? But the truth is, it was not sudden. It was built one small act of indiscipline at a time. Discipline is not about doing big things perfectly. It is about doing small things consistently. The warning comes when you ignore the small things. The little lie you told yourself that it doesn't matter if I skip this one time. That one time becomes 2, then 10, then a habit, then a lifestyle, then a consequence. Discipline breaks that chain. It stops the small leak before it sinks the whole ship. But most people wait until the ship is underwater before they start learning how to swim. That is why life has to give them the last warning. Do not let that be you. Learn to swim when the water is calm, not when the storm has already swallowed you. Some people think discipline is hard. They say, it is difficult to wake up early. It is difficult to control my emotions. It is difficult to stay committed. But you know what is more difficult? Regret. Regret is heavier than any discipline you will ever carry. Regret will bend your soul in ways discipline never will. Because discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. You think waking up early is hard. Try waking up every day of your life wishing you had started earlier. You think saving money is hard. Try being broke when you are too old to work. You think exercising is hard. Try living in a body that no longer obeys you because you ignored every warning sign. Everything that feels hard now will feel like mercy compared to the pain of regret later. So choose your hard. Discipline is hard. Regret is harder. Which one do you want to live with? Discipline is love. Love for yourself. Love for your future. Love for the people who depend on you. When you discipline your mind, your body, your habits, you are saying, I respect the life I have been given. I will not waste it. But when you live without discipline, you disrespect the gift of life. You treat it as if it is endless, as if you can do whatever you want without paying a price. But the price always comes, and the currency is time, health, relationships, and peace of mind. Discipline saves you from that debt. It pays the price in small installments every day, so that you do not have to pay the full amount in pain later. People often ask me, how do I know where I need discipline? The answer is simple. Look at where the warnings are. Look at the areas of your life that feel out of control. Look at the places where you keep saying, I'll change tomorrow. Those are the places screaming for discipline. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your work, your spiritual life, they all need structure. They all need boundaries. They all need consistent action. Without that, you are building a castle on sand. It will look strong for a while, but the storm is coming, and when it does, everything will collapse, not because the storm was strong, but because your foundation was weak. Discipline is the foundation. Without it, no success lasts. Without it, no happiness stays. Without it, no growth continues. And the most powerful thing about discipline is this: it does not care about your mood. It does not care if you feel like it or not. It does not depend on inspiration. It is a decision followed by consistent action. You do not brush your teeth because you feel motivated. You do it because it is necessary. Treat your habits the same way. Treat your growth the same way. Stop waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect feeling. They will never come, but you can create perfect results through imperfect consistency. That is discipline. Every warning you ignore today will cost you tomorrow. Every act of discipline you choose today will save you tomorrow. Life is fair like that. It always gives you a choice. The problem is, Most people choose what is easy now and pay what is hard later. Wise people choose what is hard now so that life becomes easier later. Which one will you choose? The last warning is life telling you, I will not wait for you forever. Because opportunities do not wait, health does not wait, time does not wait, and when it is gone, it is gone. Discipline is the only way to hold what is precious before it slips away. You want peace? Discipline your mind. You want love? Discipline your emotions. You want success? Discipline your habits. You want freedom? Discipline your life. Because freedom without discipline is chaos. People think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. That is not freedom. That is slavery to impulses, slavery to distractions, slavery to weakness. True freedom comes when you are no longer a prisoner of your moods, your laziness, your excuses. And the key to that prison is discipline. Do not wait for the final warning. Do not wait for the collapse. Do not wait for the pain that will force you to change. Choose discipline now so that you never have to meet the version of yourself that regret creates. Discipline is the most compassionate act you can do for yourself. It is the ultimate form of self-respect. It is saying to life, I hear you. I will not waste your gift. I will not wait for the last time. Make that choice now. And when you do, you will realize that every warning was not a curse. It was a call to rise. A call to build the strength that discipline brings. A call to become unstoppable. A call to live fully without fear of what tomorrow might take away. Because when you live with discipline, you no longer fear warnings. You no longer fear the last time. You no longer fear life. You embrace it. You master it. You live it completely. When most people hear the words, this is the last time, they feel fear. They feel loss. They feel like something is being taken away from them. But I want you to understand something very important. The last time is not a punishment. It is a gift. It is not the end of your story. It is the opportunity to rewrite it while there is still time. When God says, this is your last warning, your last chance, that is not cruelty. That is compassion. That is life giving you one more door before it closes them all. That is life saying, you still have time to change, but not forever. And that is something most people never realize until it is too late. Think about your life right now. Think about the things you take for granted, the people you love, the opportunities you have, the health you enjoy, the time you waste. What if I told you this is the last day you will ever see the person sitting next to you? What if I told you this is the last time you will ever hear your mother's voice, or hug your father, or laugh with your best friend? What if I told you this is the last sunrise you will ever watch? Suddenly everything changes. Suddenly you start appreciating what was always there. Suddenly you start realizing how much you ignored, how much you postponed, how much you wasted. But why wait for the actual last time to wake up? Why wait for the final warning when you can live as if every moment matters? Because it does. The truth is, most of us live as if life is endless. We postpone the I love you. We delay the apology. We put off the dream. We think we can always start tomorrow. But tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is an illusion. And one day, the tomorrow you are waiting for will never come. That is why the last warning is a blessing. It is life forcing you to wake up from the illusion of infinite time. It is life reminding you that what you ignore today will become your regret tomorrow. And regrets are heavy, my friends. They weigh on the soul like chains. And the only way to avoid those chains is to act while you still have the chance. The last time is not the end. It is the beginning of a new way of living, if you choose to listen. You see, everything in life is temporary. The people you love, the opportunities you have, even you. Nothing is permanent. And yet we live like it is. We waste hours on meaningless things. We scroll through other people's lives while ignoring our own. We chase the wrong goals, love the wrong people, fight the wrong battles, until life shakes us and says, wake up. This is your last time. But most people do not understand this until they lose something, until they attend a funeral, until they hold the hand of someone who is leaving, until they face death themselves. Only then do they realize what mattered. But by then, the moment is gone. That is why I say do not wait for that. Treat every chance as if it is the last one. Treat every day as if it is sacred. Because one day, you will be right. When God warns you for the last time, He is giving you an opportunity to prioritize what truly matters, to let go of the noise, to release the distractions, to focus on the essential, to love deeply, to live fully, to act courageously. But most people see the last warning as a curse. They say, "Why is this happening to me? Why am I being tested?" No, you are being blessed. You are being given clarity that most people never get, because clarity does not come when you think you have infinite time. Clarity comes when you know time is short. That is when your priorities shift. That is when you stop wasting energy on meaningless arguments. That is when you stop holding grudges. That is when you forgive. That is when you stop delaying the dream you have carried for years, because suddenly you understand this is it. No more later. No more waiting. What if you started living like that today? What if you started living as if this moment was the last one? How would you speak to the people you love? Would you shout at them? Would you ignore them? Or would you hold them a little tighter? Would you tell them how much they mean to you? What if this was your last day at work? Would you complain? Or would you give your best? What if this was the last chance to start your dream? Would you hesitate? Or would you act with fire in your heart? This is how we should live, not in fear of losing, but in gratitude for having. Because the truth is, the last time is not the enemy. It is the reminder that everything you have now is precious beyond measure. The last time is powerful because it removes the illusion of control. It humbles you. It makes you realize that you do not own time. You do not own tomorrow. You do not own the next hour. You only own this moment. And when you truly understand that, your life transforms. You stop wasting words. You stop wasting opportunities. You stop wasting yourself on things that do not matter. And you start living intentionally. You start living with depth. You start living with meaning. You start living like someone who understands that life is a gift, not a guarantee. Some of you are listening to this and thinking, but why does life wait until the last time to wake us up? It does not. Life has been warning you all along, through small signs, through gentle whispers, through quiet reminders, but you ignored them. You told yourself you had time, so the warnings became louder. And now, life is saying, this is the last time. After this, I will not remind you again. That is not punishment. That is mercy. Because life could have given up on you long ago, but it didn't. It kept giving you chances. And now it is giving you the final one. What will you do with it? Do not waste the last warning on fear. Do not waste it on doubt. Do not waste it on hesitation. Use it as fuel. Use it as power. Use it as the fire that burns away all your excuses. Use it as the moment you finally stop saying someday and start saying today. Because someday is not real. Only today is real. And the last time is life screaming at you to wake up and use today like never before. So I ask you right now, what is the thing you have been delaying? What is the dream you have buried? What is the relationship you need to heal? What is the truth you need to speak? What is the habit you need to change? What is the life you need to start living? Do it now. Do it before the last time becomes the last regret. Do it before the door closes forever. Do it because you can, because you still have breath in your lungs, because you are still alive, because God is still giving you time, but not infinite time. That is the blessing. That is the urgency. That is the wake-up call. One day, everything you have will be a memory. Every conversation, every embrace, every sunrise, every chance. And you will ask yourself, did I live it well? Did I love enough? Did I give everything I could? Or will you say, I thought I had more time? Do not let those be your last words. Do not let regret be the story of your life. Write a different story. Write a story of courage. Write a story of presence. Write a story of love. Write a story where the last time was not the end, but the moment everything began. That is the power of the last warning. That is why it is a blessing, because it forces you to live the way you should have been living all along, awake, aware, and alive. So, when you hear the voice that says, "This is the last time," do not fear it. Thank it. Thank life for caring enough to wake you up. Thank God for giving you one more chance, and then act like you mean it. Act like this is the last sunrise. Act like this is the last conversation. Act like this is the last day, because one day it will be. And when that day comes, let it find you empty. Empty of excuses, empty of regrets, empty because you gave everything, loved fully, lived completely. That is the true blessing of the last time. That is what makes it sacred. That is what makes it beautiful.